All right, guys, we're back. The other day where we left off, got the fender in, got the floor pans in and delivered. We kind of did a quick run through on what we're going to be doing with those. We started messing with the driver's side floor pan, and Ethan started doing the little bit of tack welding and stuff, and getting everything in place. I got the holes drilled out for the bolts to go back through. And then the customer with the Durango stopped by yesterday and dropped the motor back off. And so it looks like we're going to be putting that back in next weekend. Now, he did a little bit of a rush job on it because he's wanting to get it back in, so he didn't do a whole lot of cleaning on the outside of it. He got the cam in, the lifters in, the push rods in, the new valve springs in. I am going to double check to make sure all the push rods are in where they're supposed to be at, because a lot of times when you're putting these Hemis back together, you can miss the hole a little bit and go into the galley area with it. And you think it's in, you got to rotate the motor, and push rod's not moving, and you got to tear it all back down. So I'm going to double check everything on the top end of this and make sure everything turns, all the rockers move. Put the valve covers back on it. We're going to clean the outside of it a little bit before we put it back in. And hopefully it runs. You know, like I said, he wanted to do the work on it, so we let him. So our job is to get it back in, fire up. Hopefully it runs good. If not, it's up to the customer to figure out what he wants to do after that. I had Ethan messing with some stuff yesterday. He was welding a new tip on his Honda, so I was like, well, while you're at it, go ahead and do some spot welds on floor pans. I drilled the holes out where I wanted the spot welds at, and he came back and spot welded for me while I was doing some other things, more or less resting my foot. So all that's hacked in right now, spot welded. I got the two mounting areas where the bolts go through. This is how it was with Studebaker. There's rubber isolators up underneath this that goes to the frame, and everything else is bolted in. I was able to take the door bar out I had in here, give me some more work. I've already started doing some grinding and cleaning, so I'm getting ready to spot weld these in or tack them in, so everything's sitting in place. I'm gonna have to cut out a piece here to fill in this gap where it was all rusted out at, and we'll show you that here in a little bit. But for now, let me get all this stuff spotted, and so I can get all my vice grips and C-clamps and stuff off like that. So hopefully I've got enough gas left to do this. I'm running low, but hopefully I got enough to get some tack welds and spot welds in to hold her in place. And yes, from the sound of it, I am officially about out of gas in the welder. But at least I got it tacked in. I alternated a little bit, let it cool down a little bit, because you don't want the panels to warp. But at least now I got it tacked in. And can take the clamps off. But I think that's going to be it for the welding part of it. All right, so for now I got it tacked in place. And I wish I had some more gas in my tank. But basically just spot welding, and then I'll go back and start spot welding and filling in all the gaps. And but like I was telling you before, these floor pans are made for few years difference. I think these are 61 to 63 or 64. So some of the punch holes are different, like this one and that one, depending on the application of the vehicle. I think it was either the convertible sedans and the wagons. So I located my original holes in the frame and got them drilled out. Back where they are, it was not too terribly bad. I have reference points to go off of. And so, I mean, this part's in solid now, so that's why I was able to take the bracing off the door. So what I'm doing now, since I'm out of gas for the welder right now, I'm gonna go ahead and make the rubber mount for the body mount. And I got one more to do. And like I said before, Studebaker really didn't have an actual rubber mount. They used old sidewalls from the tires and stuff. So what I'm using is something similar to that. So what I'm using here is actually some old radiator hose. And if I double them up, that's going to give me my thickness I'm going to need. I've already got the holes drilled out through the middle for them. And it's like really simple. You know, back in the day when they were building these cars, you know, especially with Studebaker and Hudson and stuff like that, they're trying to find a way to cut cost. And the best way, I guess, for them to do it. But as I was taking this apart, I noticed these little chunks of rubber that were just cut out. Well, so when I did the research on it, kind of find out they're using sidewalls of the tires. So I don't know if they were blemishes or just old tires or what. So I'm replacing it kind of the same way. So let me get all this set up and we'll get it in there and get it bolted and call it good. All right, got that bolt in. All three attachment points to the frame and the body mount are now in. So it's not going anywhere. Test fit the door back on this thing before I got too far ahead to make sure everything was going to fit, everything's going to close right. Because you remember in my previous videos, I'm actually adding a brace to the body. I'm going to be cutting this one down like I did the other side and then lay the floor on top of that. Just give it a little bit more strength. And but it worked out great. Door's in. I still got to do some minor tweaking on it. I just threw it on there. Just kind of get an idea where I'm at with it. Make sure everything was still going to line back up right. So for the first putting it back together, it's not doing too bad. My gap's a little wide down at the bottom. They're on top. Just opposite on this side. So I need to bring the door up a little bit like this and like that. And that should get everything lined up with that. But considering first fit back, not too bad. I can deal with some minor adjustments. Now I have gas. So let's get back to doing some welding. Got my spot welds in, or working on it anyway, tying the floor pan from the front to the back. Right now around the back seat area through here, I'm gonna be making a piece that goes from here all the way around to where I started over here. There's just so much I had to cut out here, so I'm just gonna make a whole new piece to go around and blend it in. I still got some areas to do back here in the back. But she's slowly coming together. So now I've got the front, I still gotta do a patch panel underneath that area of the firewall. Still gotta do some stuff by the door area. But I basically wanted to get it tied from the front to the back. So that's where I'm at right now. It's been a long day, long couple of days. And I'm calling it a night. So other than that, guys, you have a good one, a safe one, and I'll see you down the road.